Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gnandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dhina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gourange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishavana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita as it is, translation, commentary, Srila Prabhupada. Today's verse, number 2, chapter 15, chapter entitled, The Yoga of the Supreme Person. So, it's there on the board. Please repeat. Adyash Kodvam Prastas Tasya Sakya Guna Pravidha Vishaya Pravala Adhyas Cha Mulani Thani Karmanubhandhini Manushaloke Adas Kordvam Pratastasya Sakya Guna Pravidha Vishaya Pralavya Ajascha Mulani Anusantani Karmanubhandhini Manushaloke Adyas Kodvam Pratastasya Shakya Guna Pravidha Vishaya Pravala Ajascha Mulani Anusantani Karmanubhandhini Manushaloke. Okay, have it. Adjas Kurvan Pratastasya Shakya
Vishaya Pravala Adacha Mulanyanu Santatani Karmanu Bandi Manushaloke Adachordam Prasastasya Sata Guna Pravudha Vishaya Pravada Samorani Ansantatani Adacha Mulani Ansantatani Karmanubandini manusya loke.
Karmanubandini manusya loke.
Adastotvam prasratas tasya dasaka. Adastotvam prasratas tasya saka. Vishaya prabhala.
Vishaya prabhala.
Dastabula sundatani.
Dastamulanya santatani.
Manubandini manusya loke.
Karmanubandini manusya loke. Adastotvam prasratas tasya saka. Yes, very good. Thank you. So, word for word, andaha, downward, cha, and, urdhvam, upward, pratashtaha, extended, tasya, its, sakya, branches, guna, by the modes of material nature, praviddaha, developed, vishaya, sense objects, pravalaha, twigs, antha, downward, cha, and, malani, roots, anushantani, satani, extended, karma, to work, anubhandini, bound, mayusha loke, in the world of human society. So, translation, Srila Prabhupada. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of the material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has its roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Please repeat. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree has its roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Okay, very good. Purport, Srila Prabhupada. The description of the banyan tree is further explained here. Its branches spread in all directions. In the lower parts, there are variegated manifestations of living entities, human beings, animals, horses, cows, dogs, cats, etc. These are situated on the lower parts of the branches, whereas on the upper parts are higher forms of living entities, the demigods, Gandharvas, and many other higher species of life. As a tree is nourished by water, so this tree is nourished by the three modes of material nature. Sometimes we find that a tract of land is barren for want of sufficient water. Sometimes a tract is very green. Similarly, where particular modes of nature, material nature, are proportionately greater in quality, the different species of life are manifested accordingly. The twigs of this tree are considered to be the sense objects. By development of the different modes of nature, we develop different senses. And by the senses, we enjoy different varieties of sense objects. The tips of the branches are the senses, ear, nose, eyes, etc., which are attached to the enjoyment of different sense objects. The twigs are sound, form, touch, and so on, the sense objects. The subsidiary roots are attachments and aversions which are byproducts of different varieties of suffering and sense enjoyment. The tendency towards piety and impiety is considered to develop from these secondary roots, which spread in all directions. The real root is from Brahmalok, and the other roots are in the human planetary systems. After one enjoys the results of virtuous activities in the upper planetary systems, he comes down to earth to renews his karma or fruitive activities for promotion. This planet of human beings is considered the field of activities. Yes. So a little complicated. Okay. Mukam karochi vak chalam pangam laite girim yar kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru dinatarinam hadas korvan pratasta shisakya guna pravitam vishaya pravala andascha mulani anushantani tatani karma nubhandini manushaloke. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has its roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Yes. So, title is the Yoga of the Supreme Person. But Krishna is starting by saying, this is the material world. Right? Number 5, those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are free from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. So that is above the roots of the tree. That supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Yes. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Famous verse, this Mama. Due to conditioned life, they're struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. Yes, so this is a banyan tree, and of course, you must all be familiar with the banyan tree, right? It starts in one place, then it grows across branches, and then it throws down another root, and similarly, all other branches will drop down and form another root, and the whole thing becomes very complex. It can expand unlimitedly. I believe in Bengal they have one that is the champion, and it's, I don't know exactly, so I don't want to say, but it's maybe 100 yards or 100, it's just going on and on. So the material world is compared to that. It's not that Krishna is describing that if you fly up in the sky, Devaloka, you will see a big banyan tree in the universe. But he's using this example of a banyan tree to give us an idea that this complicated material world is like a banyan tree. He's using the banyan tree to illustrate that this material world is, we don't really know where the root is, where the beginning is. It's going everywhere. And people are taking part in this banyan tree. Some people are attached to human bodies, some animal bodies, some are in Devaloka, some are in this place, that place. And they're all, the twigs are the leaves, they're the objects of the senses, and the senses are like the twigs. So everyone is part of this banyan tree, entangled in it, we could say. Because actually we're not part of this material world. We are spiritual beings, but we are focused on the material energy. That's the problem. So we think I'm part of this banyan tree, this complicated material universe that has roots everywhere. And without knowledge, we don't know what to do. We just think, I'll jump from this branch to this tree and this trunk. I'll try to go from being on the human branch to the Devaloka branch. The animals, they're not really thinking about anything. They're just going up their branches. When they become human beings, then they can understand, oh my God, this tree just goes on and on. What is the actual factual truth? Vedavyas says right at the beginning of the Vedanta Sutra, Atato Brahmajignas. Atato means now you're a human being, or at least you have some qualities of being a human. Now, Brahmajignas. Inquire, what is the Supreme? So, everyone in the human body is looking for the truth, right? When you're below the human and you're in the animal bodies, you're just looking to survive. You're just trying to fill the belly, satisfy your mate, have children. That's good. Yeah, it was no annoying sound. So this material world, the animals, they're not inquiring. But Vedavyas is saying, Atato Brahmajignas, to catch the attention of everyone. He doesn't say, Atato, Supreme Person, Atato this, he says, that which is supreme. It's very generic. You understand that word? It's very general. It's pointing everyone, even the material scientists, right? They want to find out what is the ultimate understanding of this material world. They want to, what is the final equation that will sum up everything? Of course, they're very foolish. They're just looking for the answer in the material energy. But then some people are going to manodharma, man-made religion, and they're getting something. But Jiva Goswami says, Amnaya. I was reading that in the Dasmula Tattva, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He says, Jiva Goswami doesn't give credence or he doesn't refer to anything except Amnaya. What is Amnaya? Amnaya is the body of knowledge that comes down through the Vaishnava Sampradayas, from the Vedas, from the sages, the Smriti and the Shruti and the Pancharatriki. What is the Shruti? It's the original Vedas. The Smriti is remembrances or Puranas or knowledge, derivatives of the original Shrutis. And then the Pancharatriki in Kali Yuga, how to worship the Supreme Lord. So these things are there. And Jiva Goswami says, in my satsandarbhas, I'm not interested in taking a quote from here or there. So that's very significant. Of course, Prabhupada, in his preaching work, he would sometimes refer to this and that, and, oh, you don't believe, oh, you believe this. And he would say that the aim of human life is love of God. So you say you belong to this religion, then follow it nicely. But the caveat is, are you developing love of God? Right? If you're following this so-called religion and you're becoming more political, more materialistic, more vicious to people who don't agree with your religious system, you won't be developing love of God. Because love of God, Krishna Prem, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, Sadhukabadai, Shravanadi Sudhajita Karyodai, it only awakens in somebody who is sinless. Somebody who is sinful, somebody who is under anathas, unwanted things, cannot attain the Purushartha. Purushartha is the highest wanted thing, Purushartha. So artha means wanted thing, anartha means unwanted things. So that is why spiritual masters always emphasize in the beginning stages, you must overcome your anarthas. So this material example, or this description of the material world as a big banyan tree, is there, what? So that we can become detached from this material world. Once we realize that this tree of the material world that is rooted in Brahmaloka, he is the empowered creator of the material universe, empowered by Krishna. Once we can understand that the different planetary systems and this and that that are there, we're on Bhumandala, which is in the middle, and then above us is what? Bhuloka, Swargaloka, Mahaloka, Janaloka, Mahaloka, Tapaloka, and then Satyaloka. And below us is another 7, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Tala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. And below that there is, you can say, Narak, but that's generally a place of waking up for people. So this huge manifestation of the material energy with all its different varieties, these are all different parts of the banyan tree. And that banyan tree is rooted in Brahmaloka. But even then, what is the root of Brahmaloka? Brahma is empowered by Krishna. He's given the knowledge. We know that at the beginning of the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma awakens in the universe on the top of the lotus stem of Mahavishnu. And he is, what is this universe? But then he hears the word tapa, which means austerity. That means voluntary control of the mind and senses, working senses, knowledge acquiring senses, become controlled. So he understands by grace of Krishna, now I should meditate on the absolute truth. What is that explanation? What is the Brahman? What is Brahma? What is the Supreme? He understands that. So he goes into meditation, and it said 100 celestial years. So that means a vast amount of time. And then he realizes the absolute truth. And we have the 5th chapter. Lord Chaitanya found that in the temple in Trivandrum. Now just imagine if we had more chapters, that would be very nice. It's a shame he didn't find chapter 1, 2, and 3, and 4. But in chapter 5, Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami. So he's saying, now I know Adi Purisham, the original person, the source of everything is Govinda. So he speaks that, right? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda. Anadir Adir, I mean, he is the original person, supreme controller. He's giving rasa to everyone, Govinda. And now, Anadir Adir. He is the origin of everyone. And then what's the next line? Anadir Adir Govinda. Savakarana Karanam. See, we've got a great sage at the back there. He is the cause of all causes. So you can understand the Ishwara, he's controlling everything. Govinda, he's the source of all rasa. He is the origin of all living entities and all situations, entities. Doesn't just mean the Jiva Shakti, but he is the cause of all causes. Just like Krishna says, what does he say? Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. And then he says what? Bhuktaram yogi tapasham savaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam gyavamam shanti marichyati. So he's established a kind of Aishwarya. I am the enjoyer of all tapasya, sacrifices. Lord Brahma, he became realized because he performed tapasya. He controlled his mind and senses. Prabhupada many times translates tapa as voluntary control of the senses. That means you exert your ability to control. Krishna is supreme controller. We are controller of this body. We exert that and we focus on the supreme. That is tapasya, like Lord Brahma. And in that way, Krishna Swayameva Spuryada manifests to the living entity, just like he manifests to Lord Brahma. So if we perform tapa, sense control, and that means becoming sinless, then with that austerity, Krishna will be pleased and he will manifest. We should not just think, oh, that worked for Lord Brahma. It worked for Dhruva Maharaj. Krishna appeared to him. Oh, it worked for Prahlad Maharaj. We should think it'll work for me. This is the basic idea. So this banyan tree is here described to give us an idea. Of course, we can actually make paintings. An artist might like to make paintings, but the whole thing is this material world is a huge entanglement. And so you have to become detached. If you realize that this banyan tree has only got Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi to offer. Janma, repeated birth. Mrityu, repeated death. What is it? Janma, Mrityu, Vyadi. Old age, Jara, and disease. Right? This is all it's got to... when we're old, we think, oh, I wish I was young again. Well, it's going to happen. If you don't become a bhakta, you'll get rid of your arthritis. You'll get rid of all your illnesses by being reborn in another body. But that's not... I was just in the Bhagavad-Gita, I was reading the purport, and it was in the text, and it said that if you want to become detached from household life, which most people in human life get married. Of course, nowadays can't afford it, but in the old days, people used to get married. He said, to become detached from household life, you should get married. It says that in the text. I thought that was quite funny. And to become detached from attraction to the heavenly planets, because material world you can enjoy, Krishna does, become pious, become truthful, give in charity, do good work, then you can enjoy in Svargaloka, correct? You can have a good time. But how you become detached from that? You become detached from that by understanding the time factor. That's what's in the text. So I was looking there, that was a few weeks ago. I thought, well, that's very good. Yeah. Most people, they want to enjoy children and wife and so on and so forth. And they also, so they become attached to that. But you become detached from household life by being married, because it's a lot of stress. The children grow up and they leave home and so on and so forth. There's a lot of troubles. There's troubles in every situation. And if you think, oh, I'll just be a good person and I'll go to Swargaloka, well, that's temporary. That's like going on a good holiday. It's going to run out one day and you're going to have to come back. So be detached. That's the first thing. The whole material world is anartha, unwanted. It's all unwanted. So this is the thing. But then Krishna is saying, become yoga of the Supreme Person. How to become a yogi. Instead of, just like at the end of the 13th chapter, remember? At the beginning of the 13th chapter there was, what is Prakriti? What is Purusha? What is Kshetra? What is Kshetrajna? What is the object of knowledge? What is knowledge? Right, those 6 questions. So at the end of that chapter, Krishna says, those with a vision of eternity, because he's talking about Prakriti and Purusha. Normally we're focused on Prakriti, not Purusha. Normally we're focused on Kshetra and not Kshetrajna, the knower of the body, which is the soul and the individual and the Supreme Soul. And then we're not using knowledge to find that Supreme Person. But Krishna says you must develop a vision of eternity. Just becoming a tapasya is useless because you become bored. But you must perform tapasya as an offering to the Supreme Person. All right? So we know that tapasya, Prabhupada summed it up nicely, regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds, studying the books, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam. So we should pursue that, but we should pursue it like Lord Brahma, as an offering, not as something we have to do. You understand? It is my tapasya that I'm offering. I'm following the principles. It is my offering to the Supreme. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. It is my offering. You understand? It has to be there. So Krishna says that earlier, right? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. If you do it pritipurvakam as an offering to the supreme root of creation, then he'll give you buddhi yoga. Buddhi yoga, what does that mean? Intelligence. At the beginning of the Gita, Krishna says buddhi yoga. Prabhupada translates many times as devotional service. But buddhi yoga is very good for the sadhaka, the person who is practicing. There's 2 types of devotee, the sadhaka and the siddha. So the siddha is a perfect person. It's got its relationship with Krishna. But the sadhaka is trying to develop. So sadhana bhakti means that. It means to practice your relationship with Krishna. You understand? You practice it. The sadhana is given by the sages, the spiritual master, but then you offer that sadhana to Krishna, and that is your connection with Krishna. But you're not just doing it, or you're not just chanting, I'm not saying you, but one isn't just chanting mechanically. You know, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, you know, what time's breakfast? No, it should be yagya. Yagya, japa, yagyanam, of all. Right? It should be done with the heart. Priti purvakam, Krishna says. It should be consciously. This is buddhi yoga. I am consciously doing this to please Krishna. It's my offering. Obedience to the spiritual master pleases the spiritual master. I want to become advanced, not for me, but for the pleasure of the spiritual master. In appreciation. Just like Prabhupada's disappearance day was there, and they were giving appreciation packets to the chosen few. Sorry about that. I got one. Not that I'm one of the chosen few. But I was thinking, no, I got an appreciation. It's just a calendar and a cookie. So don't be too put out. But the thing is, I said to Mahadevi, she was giving it to me a few days after the festival, I said, actually, I should have appreciation for Srila Prabhupada. We should feel great appreciation for the Guru, especially Prabhupada at such advanced age. He went all over the world, staying up at night, translating, giving lectures, writing books, giving guidance, marrying disciples, telling them what to do from the square one, right? Prabhupada worked day and night, and all the time maintaining this wonderful spiritual consciousness, because he was a siddha, right? And often he said, I'm doing this for my guru. He used to say one time, there's one lecture, Prabhupada says, I'm doing this because you're sent by my guru, so I have to serve you. He was referring to his disciples. My disciples are my guru because they're sent by my guru. So this is the spiritual consciousness. So we should understand, yes, my God, I must appreciate a millionfold to my spiritual masters, to all the acharyas, to the Vedavyas, to all these great devotees. Then I can cut down the attachment to this material tree. So tapasya is there, but what should we be searching for? Now I've mentioned this before, the Uddhava Gita. This is what Uddhava is told by Krishna. He says at the beginning, Krishna, I now describe to you principles of devotion to me, by executing which a mortal human being will conquer unconquerable death. So we perform tapasya, things that anarthas, and overcome then. But on the positive side, we want to have the search for Krishna. We want to use that tapasya to realize Krishna, to realize the Supreme Person. You see my point? Tapasya will cut attachment and knowledge of the entangling nature of this material world and the banyan tree. We can leave that behind. But how should we become attached to Krishna? It's one thing to give up one room, but we want to go into the other room, the Krishna conscious room. My dear Uddhava, because I personally established it, this process of devotional service unto me is transcendental and free from any material motivation. Certainly a devotee never suffers even the slightest loss by adopting this process. So then it talks about in a dangerous situation, laments, and so on and so forth. Right? Previously I have given you the survey of the science of the absolute truth, Krishna says. I've explained. Even for the demigods, this science is very difficult to comprehend. I have repeatedly spoken this knowledge to you. This is the Uddhava Gita, like we have the Arjuna Gita. With clear reasoning, anyone who properly understands it will become free from all doubts and attain liberation. Now this is the important point. One who gives this, liberally disseminates this knowledge amongst my devotees, is the bestower of the absolute truth. To him I give my very own self. So Prabhupada always emphasized that. We're not just practicing bhakti-yoga, but we have a huge movement to give it to people, right? Like the temple is full, it's wonderful. We want to give this knowledge. We have the kirtan. So, to them I give my very own self. Now, one who loudly recites this supreme knowledge, by which is most lucid and purifying, becomes purified by day, for he reveals me to others with the lamp of transcendental knowledge. Oh, wait a minute. I missed the previous page, sorry. Yes. So this is the science. For him who constantly meditates on my presence within all persons, the bad tendencies of rivalry, envy, and abusiveness, along with false ego, are very quickly destroyed. Disregarding the ridicule of one's companions, one should give up all bodily conception and its accompanying embarrassment. One should offer obeisances before all. Krishna describes what bhakti-yoga should be, and you'll know this, either alone in public gatherings with singing, dancing, and other exhibitions of royal opulence. One should arrange to celebrate those holy days, tomorrow's Ekadashi, and ceremonies set aside especially for my worship. So Krishna recommends observing the holy days. then, this is the thing, with a pure heart one should see me, the Supreme Soul, within all beings and also within himself. Yes. One who thus views all living entities with the idea that I am present within each of them, and who by taking shelter of this divine knowledge offers due respect to everyone, is considered actually wise. You hear that? Did you catch that? That you are directed, Krishna is saying to Uddhava, see me in the heart of all living beings. Earlier we're discussing that we want to focus on transcendence. Now we're becoming detached from the material universe, the material situation, but we're not just meditating on Krishna in Goloka. We're seeing Krishna within the heart of all living beings. So this is a bit like what Krishna explained in the 11th chapter, the universal form. Right? He showed Arjuna how he is within this material world as the Supersoul, as Paramatma. So he's saying to Uddhava now, yes, you know me, Uddhava, but if you want to make progress, see me in the heart of all living beings. Right? One who thus views all living entities with the idea I am present within each of them. He's present in two ways, right? As the super soul and as the jiva. Because the jiva, that is Krishna. Mama Angsha, right, that will come later. We are Vamsa, Mama Vamsa. We are part of the family of Krishna. So every living entity is a family member, right? So this is important. Then Krishna is non-different from the jiva, and yet we are different. We're Vibhinansa, one and different. One who takes shelter of this knowledge and offer due respect to everyone is considered actually wise. Such a man sees equally the Brahmana, the qualified Brahmana, and the outcast, the thief, and the charitable promoter of Brahminical culture, the sun and the tiny spikes of fire, the gentle and the cruel. Right? So we are directed here by Krishna to see that everyone is part and parcel of himself, to see the soul within the body of everyone, and to see he is there with the soul as Paramatma in the heart of everyone. And then that's the vision of eternality. Instead of just seeing the material world, oh, friend, enemy, beautiful, young, old, not fat, rich, poor, instead of seeing upadhis, material designations, we see the soul, not just in the guru or the sadhu, but in the heart of everyone. Listen. And then he says, for him who constantly meditates. Now this is how to become a sadhu. Right? We want to be a sadhu. We want to become detached. And we want sato vrite. Right? That's one of the 6 things Rupa Goswami says. Sato vrite. You should become a sadhu. You should become well-behaved. For him who constantly meditates on my presence within all persons, Super Soul and Jiva, the bad tendency of rivalry, envy, and abusiveness, along with false ego, are quickly destroyed. Right? So this is very interesting. Rivalry, envy, abusiveness. Rivalry means amongst those that we consider our equal, we have a sense of rivalry. I'm going to win. Those that we see as superior to us, we have a sense of envy. Oh, I don't like him. He's a better madanga player than me. He thinks he's better than me. Right? And then abusiveness, people that we think, oh, that's a new devotee, can't tie his dhoti nicely. Look at him, he's a fool. That's abusiveness. So this is all matsarya. Huh? We're rivalry with people on our level that we think. We abuse the people that are above us enviously, and we condemn the people below us that we think in that way. But Krishna is saying, if you want to get rid of that material disease, you see everyone as part and parcel, and Krishna is present in everyone's heart. So that's how you have to focus. Instead of seeing the upadhi, the material designations, you see the soul and the super soul within everyone. And then listen to this. Disregarding the ridicule of one's companions, one should give up all bodily conception and its accompanying embarrassment. Give up the bodily conception of yourself. I'm a soul within this body. I'm not the body. One should offer obeisances before all, even the dogs. So I'm not demanding that you go in the street and pay obeisance to a dog. You can maybe do like this and give them a biscuit. But you should give obeisances to the dogs, outcasts, this 5,000 years ago, people who are outside the Vedic paradigm, cows and asses, asses, donkeys, falling flat upon the ground like a rod, dandavats, to the dog. So this is amazing, is it not? This is what Krishna is telling Uddhava, who is his personal friend and minister in Dwarka. He said, this is the science of bhakti. Until one has fully developed this ability to see me within all living beings, one must continue to worship me by this process with the activities of speech, mind, and body. So that means you don't just philosophically see people, they have a soul, but you also offer obeisances. Now, I'm not saying if you do that in Vrindavan, you might get run over, falling flat on the ground like a rod. But you should have this sense of respect, because everyone is the part and parcel of Krishna. Right? This is the Kanishta. He only sees Krishna in the temple. But the Madhyama sees Krishna throughout the universe, in the hearts. Now listen to this. By such transcendental knowledge, the all-pervading personality of the all-pervading personality of Godhead, one is able to see the absolute truth everywhere. This is Krishna saying this to Uddhava. Thus, free from all doubts, one gives up fruitive activities. Just like we're saying, Prabhupada saw his disciples sent by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. He didn't think, oh, I'm the big man here now. These disciples are, handy. No, I am the servant of them. They're sent by my Guru. Now, do you see what a sadhu is? He's saying that you are my Guru. He says that. I've heard the lectures. Right. Now, here's the final verse. Indeed, I consider this process, using one's mind, words, and bodily functions for realizing me within all living beings, right? We're surrounded by living beings in this banyan tree, to be the best possible method of spiritual enlightenment. Right? Now, sometimes the footballer, he scores a goal, and he goes like this, thank you, God. Right? No, that's okay. Krishna is in Goloka. But the best way to respect for that footballer is to see that in the goalkeeper is the heart of Krishna, is the soul, is the individual soul. I'll say it again. Indeed, I consider this process, that's Krishna saying, I consider. He's not saying, hey, I'm the boss. He's saying, I consider. See how humble Krishna is, how sweet. I consider this process of using one's mind, body, and bodily functions, paying dandavats to the dog, for realizing me within all living beings to be the best possible method of spiritual enlightenment. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, the material world is a big banyan tree, complicated with twigs, and different planetary systems and sense objects everywhere. We become detached by that knowledge. But then what should we do? We perform bhakti as an offering to all the acharyas and all our shiksha gurus. Oh, I'm still surrounded by all these living entities. What do? I meditate on Krishna within their heart. I meditate upon them as being part and parcel of Krishna. And that is the best method of spiritual enlightenment. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Uddhava Maharaj, Krishna ki? No. Any question? There's Gita Garis. It's so nice to see you in the Gita class.
Lord Thakur describes the punishments in the fifth canto in the law of planetary systems as being exaggerated. Can you comment on that?
Well, I've got no plan to go there. Well, if he says that, that's the great Acharya. He said that Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jivadharma, right?
Yeah.
He explains that the punishments in the lower planetary systems that are mentioned in the scripture are exaggerated. Far be it from me to contradict Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Right? So, yes. Now, it's interesting, that makes me remember something. Because some months back, I was on the internet and I got this website, and it was people that had near-death experiences. You know, they were in an accident, or they were in a medical operation, or they had a fever, and they left their body. And they went to different regions in the universe. And there was one, he was an art teacher, and there was another one. And in his subtle body, because you're devotees, you know, they were leaving their body in the subtle body of mind and intelligence and consciousness. And there was one person, she was a lady actually, this one, and she said, I went to hell. And I was in a big crowd. And we were in a line, and we were walking through this like desert, and then huddled together. And we were in great anxiety and fearfulness, and so on. And then the other man that was an art teacher, he went there, and he was sent into a lower region. And he said, I had this feeling of great despair. And he had been atheistic his whole life. You know, he's a big professor of art and teaches students. But he had been rough on them, he realized. And his behavior had not been good. And so it was in hell, and he suddenly just called out to God, God help me, God help me. And then the whole situation changed. So I was watching this on the YouTube there, and I was thinking, yeah, this is what the punishment in the material world is about. It is correctional. We're in this material world because we've given up. We're bahirmukh, right? We're turned away from the Supreme Lord. So we become atheistic or materialistic, we exploit others, and we go into the darkness of this banyan tree. But in this desolate environment of desperation, how can I get free of it? He was feeling great anxiety. He prayed to God sincerely, and then the hellishness went away, and then he returned to his body. I think it was a hospital or something like that. So of course they hadn't actually died, but he'd experienced some hellish situation. So the lower planetary systems, they're not meant just like sometimes we have jails, but they're meant to correct people, are they not? This person was a bank robber, we throw him in the jail 5 years, so he will correct his behavior. So the hellish planets that you mentioned, they always have to be understood that Krishna is supremely merciful, but some people have to learn the hard way, right? You're all great sages, so yes, I'm going to do that. After the class, I'm going to pay obeisances to the next dog I see. So that's learning the easy way. But some people want to learn the hard way, and they beat dogs, right? And they laugh at them, and you're an old dog. They call their dad, you're an old dog. What you? So they have to learn the hard way. You understand? They have to go maybe to a hellish situation where they call out to God. Because this is the whole point, if yoga of the Supreme Person, if you fix your mind on Krishna like Lord Brahma did, then all good qualities will come. Just like we see this rivalry, abusiveness, envy, it will go away. So we can understand the hellish planets in that way. That certainly Vedavyas, and also it's into the interpretation of the reader. If he reads something, another person might read the same thing and feel differently about it. But the lower planetary systems, or particularly Patala, which is the hellish place, they are meant to correct us. You understand my point? So in that way, we don't want, the Bhagavatam doesn't want to recommend the lower planetary systems. But actually, we also read from the Acharyas that if you go Atala, Sutala, now Bali Maharaj is on Sutala. He's the king there, and he will be the next Indra, having surrendered the universe. So it's not that the lower planetary systems are worse. Sometimes you will read that they're actually more luxurious than Swagaloka. And they're more luxurious and there's more sensuality. So those lower planetary systems, and then as you go lower and lower, you get into the Nagaloka. These where they're actually not actually human forms, but they're enjoying as snakes. So they are not meant to attract us. It's never said that, go to the lower planetary system where everyone is atheistic. Now, what kind of people go there? They may be very atheistic in this life on earth, and they give charity and open a hospital and do good things. Humanist, right? But they don't believe in God. So they don't want to go to Swagaloka, because in Swagaloka they have kirtan festivals. Narada Muni they worship God, and Vamana Dev is there, and there's great sages. But in the lower planetary system, I got a lot of punya. I did many nice things for people. So then I go to a lower planet, and there's no talk of God. Everyone thinks I'm pretty good, and I'm having a nice time, and there's no factories here, and all the women are beautiful, and nobody is mentioning God. So that is there, it's described, but it's never recommended to go there, because that enjoyment, like I said, is temporary. And by meditating on the time factor, we lose attachment to Swagaloka or these lower planetary systems. But there is Patala Loka, and that is correctional, and it is a place of despair. There's a sense in Patala Loka, I can't get out of this. I'm suffering and I'm being chastised and people are harming me. But when will it finish? When will it finish? This despair, you understand? But like we go on an Indian train, but we know it's crowded and it's rough, but in 12 hours I'll be in Calcutta and I'll be free. But in the hellish planets, you have no feeling of there's going to be a solution to this. You're always feeling despair. So that will make you turn to becoming theistic. Just like it is said in the First World War, it said there's no atheist in the trenches. You know, when you're in a war, like the First World War was hellish, everyone ends up, oh God, please protect me. You know, because they're throwing bombs on each other and killing each other. They say there's no atheist in the trenches. So when you're in a desperate position, you find your innate belief in God. Because we are angsa of God. So even though we're in the material world, we have that root of God consciousness within our soul. Do you see my point? It's never ever gone because we are part of Krishna. We are angsa, mama angsa jiva loke. So when we reach deep within ourselves, we think, oh, the only one that can help me is God. Do you see my point? So that is Patala. People go there and they suffer and then they turn to God. That is the meaning of it. That is the thing. And when they start to realize I've made mistakes and I believe in God, and by believing in God I can become purified, then they can take birth again. And yes, the lower planetary systems, yeah, they are enjoying, but they're not recommended at all because it's all temporary, as we said earlier in the class. Does that satisfy your inquiry?
Sure. Thank you.
You know what I mean? Because the main thing is they're not permanent, none of them. You know, in the man-made religions, they say, you will go to hell forever and burn in fire and fire and fire. I remember when I was a small boy, because I was brought up in one of those places. I went to my mother, I think I was about 8 years old, and I said, Mommy, I don't want to go to hell forever, ever and ever and ever. And she said, don't worry. I asked my mother the same question, and she said, don't worry about going to hell. You're already in hell. Which was pretty, I didn't understand at the time. Oh, what does that mean? I've got a nice bicycle. What do you mean I'm in hell? But actually, yes, we're already, you understand, Gita, the point that we're already in this cycle of birth, death, old age, disease, right? Right? We're already losing our hair. We're already getting arthritis. We're already in this suffering condition, right? So don't worry about going to the lake of fire. That's what she said. And then she told me another time, now that she's on my mind, she said she used to go to church all the time, 3-4 times a week. And she once told me, I don't like these churches where they talk about hell and going to hell. I like it when they talk about love of God. You should love God. When I was a small boy, she told me, she said, she came back from church once and she said to me, Jesus was a holy man and he loved God and wanted to do good for others. And that's how we should be. And I remember that. I don't know, I was a little boy. And I was thinking, wow. And when I met Srila Prabhupada, I thought, I've met my holy man. Right? Because Prabhupada was real holy man. You could, the vibration. So, I think that's the point. That Krishna, some people have to learn the hard way. And some people want to enjoy sensuality in this way. But it's all nothing compared to eternality. A life of continuous bliss, reciprocating with the Supreme Lord. Do you see my point? So it's a matter of reading the books and then intuiting. But I don't know if we can make a scale. 6 out of 10 in Atalaloka, 5 out of 10 in Nagaloka. You understand? I think they're all material. They're all part of this banyan tree. This is what Krishna is saying. They're all part of this entangling cycle. So now go for the root, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by taking shelter of the Acharyas, studying Bhagavad-Gita, and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everyone agreed? Okay. So, if I see a dog, I might just go like that. Thank you all very much. Hope to see you next week. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.